Hello, welcome to another episode of It's Not What You Think. Today we're going to explore the sounds of animals and how those sounds have been incorporated into music. But first, this t-shirt was sent to me by someone in Arizona, Michael Lass. Seriously? This is great, I love it. So thank you, Mike Lass. Moving right along, we're exploring sounds, particularly that of nature, and we did sounds of insects. We explored the sounds of whale songs and bird songs. And if you missed any of those episodes, go back and check them out. They're pretty fascinating. And today we're going to explore the sounds of animals like frogs and wolves. Let's hear some animals. I almost said frogs and wolves. Oh my. No, oh my. Just let's hear some animals. Now, when it comes to soundscapes, we have to bring up Bernie Krause. He's an American musician and soundscape artist. In fact, he founded in 1968 the Wild Sanctuary, an organization dedicated to the recording and archiving of natural soundscapes. He came out with an album called The Great Animal Orchestra, and that's exactly what it is. Now, Jim Newman has been in the previous several episodes. He's dedicated his career to the interspecies communication, or in other words, playing music with animals. His pioneering album, Playing Music with Animals, demonstrates his efforts, and here we can hear him playing a cello with some wolves. last episode, we had a museum event where birds were playing the electric guitars. This week, we have something kind of similar. The Thai Elephant Orchestra. Get a load of this. It's a musical ensemble consisting of as many as 14 Thai elephants near northern Thailand. The elephants play music, essentially improvisations, on specially designed heavy-duty musical instruments. The orchestra was co-created by elephant conservationist Richard Lair of the National Elephant Institute and the American musical artist David Soldier. So according to the notes, the conservationist just tells the elephants when to start and when to stop, and all of the creation of the music is purely improvisation from the animals. Apparently, historically, elephants have an affinity towards music. They've been known to memorize certain melodies and been able to transpose those melodies. This next one is one of my favorites. Mindaugas Piešaitis, Lithuanian composer, got his hands on a video of a cat, a house cat, tinkering around at the piano. And so what he did was he took that video and he edited it so that probably many of the silences were edited out. And he got a melody out of it, and then he constructed with an orchestra a piece that accompanies. So basically you have an orchestra, a concerto is what you have, where the cat plays the main melody and the orchestra plays the concerto as the backup for the soloist. The cat is the soloist. So you got to check this out. This is cool. Krause reappears now in collaboration with Richard Blackford, an English composer. Now, I think it was a poor decision to title this album The Great Animal Orchestra Symphony, because Bernie Krause originally came out with an album called The Great Animal Orchestra. And so if you're not really paying attention, you might confuse the two. This one is The Great Animal Orchestra Symphony because it has not just the soundscapes of Bernie Krause, but it has the orchestral composition, the symphonic composition of Richard Blackford. We're not ready to move away from Bernie Krause yet. He's collaborated with a number of professionals. Here, Paul Beaver, who's an American musician pioneering of electronic music. Beaver and Krause collaborated on an album. There's electronic music, there's animal soundscapes.
Eight grotto are Carrie and Linda B. orangutans. They are natives of the forests of Borneo and Sumatra. A full-grown orangutan will weigh up to 300 pounds. The orang can easily be recognized by its large size and coat of long, loose, brick-red hair. Its common name means man of the woods. Orangutans are now rare in the wild because of persecution by man. Our young male Denny was born in the Fresno Zoo. Many orangutans are now being born in captivity. His companion is Josephine, who is wild for his hopeful eventually.
Paul Horn makes a reappearance on our show. We've heard him previously when we listened to the sounds of birds and the sounds of whales. So here he is with a song called Seal Eyes, in which he takes the sound of a seal and incorporates it into music. I don't even know what the sound of a seal sounds like, do you? And here he is again with Wolf Eyes. Hear the sounds of a wolf in his composition. What's the idea between seal eyes and wolf eyes? This theme about the eyes. The eyes are the window of the soul, and so he's capturing the soul of the animal in his composition. Paul Horn provides us with a whole discography of animal sounds incorporated into music. We can go on and on. He's got, I think, over 30 albums. Just one more, though, because he's so prolific and he has so many different animal sounds. Night elk horns. Now, I never knew an elk made a sound, but it does. It makes like a whistling bugle sound. And so it's appropriate that you would accompany the sounds of an elk with a horn, and that's what you're going to hear. You're going to hear Paul Horn playing a horn. I'm sorry, that sounds cheesy, but I couldn't come up with any other line. And the response is the bugle-esque sounds of an elk. We're continuing to find composers who take animal sounds, recordings of animal sounds, and embed them in their pieces of music. Lebaron is a composer and harpist, and she wrote a concerto for active frogs. The frogs heard in the concerto for active frogs live throughout the U.S. and Mexico. A tape collage of field recordings of frog sounds was created for the concerto and runs the entire length of the piece. The work is scored for a solo male voice, 6 to 10 mixed chorus, percussion, and 2 solo instrumentalists, woodwinds, strings, brass, and a combination thereof. Frogs make rain calls, screams, and territorial cries, as well as the warning chirps and croaks, which are some of the more striking sounds chosen for the concerto. Let me tell you, you're going to hear some sounds that you probably would never have guessed came from a frog. But here you have it. What you're going to hear, she describes as a musical dialogue between the frogs and the instrumentalists. So if an instrumentalist will listen, it's kind of like trading eights in jazz, I'm guessing. So you'll hear a frog sound and then a response by the instrumentalist. Walter Piston is an American composer and music theorist. He wrote a piece called The Incredible Flautist, and it's a ballet. It tells a story, and in one scene, there's a parade going on in a town square. And so you hear the parade music, dun 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 dun, and you hear the sounds of crowd, and there's also a recording of a dog barking, which brings it to this show. We're going to move our attention to Stuart Hyatt, who is an American musician and multimedia artist. He has an album called Ultrasonics. Do you know what animal we're talking about? Ultrasonics, radar, talking about bats. And he did some field recordings of the sounds of bats and then made musical compositions out of them. Now it is going to be a little bit different about his recordings than the previous ones. Is it's not just bat sounds in the background of his music. Well, it is, but what he does is he takes a very small clip of a bat sound and then loops it so it creates a rhythm, and that acts as like a drum kit, and then he plays bass on top of it and does other stuff. So when you listen to this piece, really pay attention to the very beginning, because that's the sound clip of the bats, and then it's going to start looping and he's going to play music on top of it, and the sounds of the bats is going to recede into the background. And if you didn't pay close attention at the beginning, you might have missed it, and I don't want you to. So here it comes. today's episode with animal mimicry. Now there's so much. There's Vivaldi's Four Seasons. He imitates birds. He imitates dogs. Mozart imitates birds. Everybody, not everybody, but there is a lot of animal mimicry. Camille Saint-Saëns does Carnival of the Animals. But I picked out a particular favorite of mine, Heinrich von Bieber. He composed a piece, the violin sonata, which is titled the Repräsentative Sonata. And he has movement number 4, which is called the frog. And he does a great job of imitating a frog sound. So this concludes today's episode. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned next week. Here is von Bieber, the Repräsentative Sonata, movement 4, the frog.